coming up on the January 28th edition of Sports Extra.
The Heels proved they didn't need any four-leaf clovers, even when the opponent is the #1 Fighting Irish.
Women in sports are often under-celebrated, but that's not the case on this campus. Female athletes run our world.
Former Tar Heels Mitch Trubisky and Theo Pinson were on this show a lot in the past, and they're back. All that and so much more, Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Media and Journalism, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
After suffering through numerous player defections, 3 straight losing seasons, and a disappointing start to this one, how do you turn things around? Good afternoon, I'm Elena Pirtle.
And I'm Julie Kuhn. One way to do that is with a thrilling upset of the top-ranked team in the land. The Carolina women's basketball team was hoping for that outcome against Notre Dame Sunday afternoon.
11-9, Carolina tipped it off against the #1 ranked 19-1 Fighting Irish in front of a raucous crowd in Carmichael Arena. While the game was close early on, the second half was all about Paris Key. Key caught fire from beyond the arc in the second half, going 5 of 8 from 3 in the game, even after getting fouled. Key continued to show out, finishing at the rim before stealing the game, inbounds pass, and scoring another layup to give the Heels a 2-point lead in the third quarter. The dagger came from Leah Church, who nailed a 3-pointer late in the game that gave the Heels a lead they wouldn't lose. The Heels knocked off Notre Dame to improve to 12-9 on the season and 3-4 in ACC play. The win was the program's first win against a #1 ranked team since 2006.
Great game plan, they executed it, and we've talked a lot about the last few days about how we wanted to have a wow moment. I asked them the other day, I said, what's a wow moment? You know, we talked about different wow moments and stuff, and I said, Sunday we want to have a wow moment.
And the crowd was absolutely amazing tonight. When we slapped the floor on defense, everybody just went wild. When we came out at the beginning of the fourth quarter, everybody was yelling. When Leah hit that really big 3, the crowd literally amps me up, amps the team up. It was an amazing atmosphere today.
One of the stars of the big game, Stephanie Watts, joins us live. You had 19 points yesterday. Your team has played really well in its past 2 games. What has made the difference?
I think we're just starting to play with more confidence, playing with chemistry together, and everything's just meshing really well for us right now.
Sylvia Hatchell challenged you guys to have a wow moment before taking on Notre Dame. How do you think that sentiment drove the team to victory?
I think that really helped. I mean, all teams, she kind of asked everyone, you know, what's your wow? And some people kind of struggled to find a moment. And before the game, she was like, let's make today our wow for the team. So I think everyone was playing with a purpose and for a reason today.
Awesome. You were out for over a year due to injury. What did it mean for you yesterday to be able to be out on the court playing in such an awesome game that resulted in such a historic upset?
It meant everything to me. After working for a year, nearly a year and a half, to get back from an injury, you know, it's always a question of whether you'll, you know, return to your playing like yourself. And I was just so happy. The team kind of lifts me up and helped me from that injury. So to be back on the court playing with my team and to get a big win like that in front of such a great crowd was an amazing moment.
Women's basketball player Stephanie Watts, fresh off a monumental win against #1 team in the country. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We've seen 2 completely different Tar Heel men's teams on the court recently. And as the Heels head to Georgia Tech to play the Yellow Jackets tomorrow night, we're all wondering, which team is making its way to Atlanta? The one that got smashed by Louisville, or the one that did the smashing against Virginia Tech? We've brought in basketball analyst Mallory Marks to get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Thanks, Julie. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the Heels are notorious for playing to their competition. If you bring in a top 10 team, or a team like Duke of course, they're going to play hard. But they just don't play at that level every game. And when unranked Louisville came in, the Heels just didn't show up. Carolina is one of the best rebounding teams in the nation, but the inability to take much off of the glass against the Cards was a big problem. The Cards were +9 on the boards, plus the Heels had 3 turnovers in the first 3 minutes of the game and 10 turnovers in the second half. And you just can't win a game with those numbers. But fast forward to the Virginia Tech game and it's a totally different story. You see a Tar Heel team that actually came to play. And here's the difference between the games. The freshmen. Now, I'm not saying players like Kenny Williams and Cameron Johnson aren't getting it done, but you just can't argue with the performances that top scorers Kobe White and Nasir Little had. The team that managed to make only 3 of 22 threes in the Louisville game hit a season-high 16 of them in this one, and White is the offensive key to the Heels winning games. He just needs to turn the ball over less, but I think that will just come with time. His offensive mindset sparked Carolina's 20-0 run, and Leaky Black and Nasir Little proved huge during the run as well. I think Little is going to be a powerhouse the more comfortable he gets on the court. The Heels also got their rebounding mojo back against the Virginia Tech team. So, which team will we see tomorrow night? Well, no ACC road game is easy, and the Heels need to remember that. Georgia Tech has a great defense, and I think it's going to take some adjustment in the first half to find their rhythm. But the Yellow Jackets don't have a deep bench, and the depth of the Carolina team is a huge advantage. So I think that's going to help the Heels tire out this Georgia Tech team quickly. If the Heels can just play fast-paced, clean basketball, I think they're going to bring the road win back home.
That's basketball analyst Mallory Marks. Heels fans hope that team that got drubbed by Louisville is gone for good. Thanks, Mallory.
A few players have received some scrutiny by the media and the fan base as the season has gone along. One of those players is Luke May. Just like the team, it appears as if there are 2 versions of Luke May, the preseason All-ACC Player of the Year Luke May, and still trying to prove himself off the bench Luke May. Against ranked opponents, May is averaging 16.3 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game, while shooting 48% from the field and 46.4% from 3. Yet again, against unranked opponents, Luke's stats drop dramatically. He shoots nearly 5% worse from the field and more than 15% worse from 3, averaging a mere 13.5 points per game and 9.5 rebounds per game. And the jury is still out. Does the senior Cam Johnson or the freshman Nasir Little deserve to start? Cam Johnson proves time and time again that he's a consistent shooter, averaging a team-high 15.5 points. However, Nasir Little is finding his footing on offense. Per 40 minutes, he's averaging 22.9 points, which is actually 0.6 better than Cam's 40 average. Some pundits think that he might deserve a starting spot. All right, Jilly, Nas or Cam, what do you think?
For me, it's got to be Cam Johnson. He's got that veteran leadership quality about him, and he's a consistent shooter. Nasir, on the other hand, he's got tremendous upside, but he's got to get his footing.
Absolutely, I agree. There's no question. Cam Johnson is the season leading scorer. Nas is not going to get a starting position over him. In the words of someone wise, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
True.
And we want to give a quick shout out to Roy Williams, who came with the Flames against Virginia Tech. He wore the off-white UNC-inspired Air Jordan 1s, so who wore them better, Roy or LeBron James?
Lots of people on campus would love to play for Roy Williams in the Smith Center, but not everyone has that level of talent. As Josh Connor shows us, some of those players have a league of their own.
Chapel Hill is known for its basketball culture, and one fraternity has taken that shared interest and turned into a league of its own, the Backyard Basketball League.
So, I mean, right now, in our first year, we had over 50 players. We had 13 teams, so 52 teams of, the style is we're going to go 3 players per game, four per team, 3 in a game at a time. So hopefully we can maybe even get that up to 16, maybe 64 players in the spring, because that way, if we get a spring league of 16 teams, we can do a true NCAA tournament where 1 seed, 16 seed all the way through. That could be really fun.
For brothers like Shane Stout, the league offers a way for the fraternity to come together and compete at one time.
You know, I think it's something we can get together and do every night. You know, you can always come outside and play basketball after dinner or, you know, after lunch or whatever. And it's just something fun. I think it's kind of just, you know, organizing something that we've done already. We always come out here and, you know, play 2-on-2, play 3-on-3, 1-on-1, you know, whatever it is. It's kind of our spare time. So I think it's just kind of putting something together, and, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's more organized. You can have guys come out and watch the game. So it's a lot of fun.
With all the hype around the league, games can get out of hand at times.
It can get pretty crazy. First game of the year, we had a torn ACL. We also had a broken arm, so it happens. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Just all good nature. I mean, people, as you saw tonight, everybody's out on the back going nuts, and it's just really just a lot of fun to get out here. Some nights we'll be in trash talking in the TV room, and they'll say, "Oh, we want to go play BBL," and then we'll get it set up. Before you know it, by the end of the game, we'll have 20 people outside, and like 3 people or 3 on each team playing against each other. And it's just a lot of fun.
None of these guys will challenge for a spot on the varsity team, but that's really not the point. I'm Josh Connor reporting.
It is, after all, Carolina's favorite sport, and you've got to admire the competitive spirit.
The biggest rivalry in sports extends beyond the basketball court.
We'll show you how Carolina's men's tennis team fared against the dastardly Devils.
Gymnasts just couldn't keep their balance against the Wolfpack. The Tar Heels opened the night with their best performance of the year on vault. Junior Michaela Robinson dominated the event with a nearly perfect score of 9.9. It was the highest score of the night. The second event was the uneven bars, and Riley Dewhurst got the highest score with a 9.8. That's a stuck landing. The team didn't do nearly as well on the next event. The Tar Heels struggled on beam. 3 separate Tar Heels fell. Robinson and her teammates had some beautiful routine on floor, but it just wasn't enough. The Heels fall to state by half a point. The Lady Tar Heels will travel to Pittsburgh to take on Temple University on February 1st.
Women's teams have accounted for more than 30 national championships at UNC. And Chip Sweeney tells us some of the current Heels had a chance to help groom up the next generation of Carolina stars.
Before watching the Heels defeat #1 ranked Notre Dame, children ranging from ages 2 to 22 filed into Fetzer Gym to enjoy National Girls and Women in Sports Day. The day allowed boys and girls from across the area the chance to interact with athletes from the women's sports teams at Carolina. Beyond just an opportunity to have fun, the day was meant to showcase the talent that women have in the athletic arena and inspire future generations of women to try their hands in sports.
I think that all the girls who play sports at Carolina were obviously in these girls' shoes one day. And so it sounds kind of hokey, but like you get to sort of breed that next generation of female athletes and get them excited about, for us, fencing. And it's really beautiful because they get to like see the sport with new eyes, and we've all seen it for so long. And the smallest things like picking up a foil is so cool to them.
All of the athletes at Carolina are highly skilled in what they do, and they understand that performing well in a sport can instill confidence like nothing else.
I just think it's really important to get kids involved in sports, and women's sports especially, and I think that it's really empowering for girls to be in sports and, you know, be physically active, stay fit, stay healthy, and have something to strive for, and, you know, give you something to go to every day and love.
I think the best thing you can do for young women is instill a sense of confidence in them really early. And so events like this, like, you get these girls really riled up, you show them how good they are at sports and how good they could be and that they could play at Carolina. And I think events like this tell young girls that they should go fence or join a soccer team or go to a gymnasium and do gymnastics, because they can. And if they put the work in, they're powerful enough and athletic enough that they could get into a Carolina one day.
With the talent on display on Sunday, Carolina will be lucky to have many of these young athletes. In Chapel Hill, I'm Chip Sweeney reporting.
So 5 to 10 years from now, we might be highlighting some of these young girls' accomplishments on the many stellar UNC women's teams.
The defending indoor champion women's tennis team took on VCU Saturday in the ITA kickoff weekend, trying to get back to the round of 16. The Heels took out the brooms and swept singles against the Rams. First-year Cameron Mora pulled off the easiest win, 6-1, 6-1. Teammates McKenna Jones and Sarah Davatilla each pulled out a W. Just look how second-ranked Jones destroys her opponent. The Heels finished off the afternoon with Davatilla's stellar performance on court 2, ending her match 6-1, 6-3. Ramses topped the Rams 4-0. There's nothing better for Tar Heel fans than to have one of the teams beat Duke. Carolina's 6th-ranked men's tennis team was hoping to deliver that gift on Saturday night at the Ken Field Tennis Center. After a disappointing doubles loss, it was junior Simon Sondergaard who notched the first Heels win after the Duke player just couldn't return his nice backhand. Sophomore Benjamin Sugwin wrapped up the men's action with a 6-3, 6-1 win against Spencer Furman. And by the way, is there any better birthday present than with a win against Duke? William Bloomberg got his birthday wish despite the doubles result as the Heels defeated the Blue Devils 4-1. 6th-ranked Tar Heels will play in the ITA National Team Championships next month.
UNC's track and field program took strides in the right direction this weekend. On Friday, senior Morgan Isle won the indoor mile and qualified for the ACC Indoor Championships with a PR of 4 minutes and 40 seconds, the 6th fastest time in the nation this year. And on Saturday, the men's 4x400 relay team took first. The 3 sophomores and a freshman clocked in at 3 minutes, 10 seconds. That's fastest in the conference this season, and one of 14 career records for the men and women combined.
Ranked 12th in the preseason poll, the UNC men's lacrosse team took on Loyola in a scrimmage on Saturday in Chapel Hill. Here we go, UNC and Loyola getting things going in Kenan Stadium. While the Heels looked flat the entire game, they did manage to strike first with this goal by Timmy Kelly. After that, Loyola came out shooting, including this goal by Kevin Lindley. The Heels fell short of the preseason hype in this game, falling 15-10, but will look to rebound when the season begins on February 2nd.
Theo!
Check out what this former Heel is doing in the pros.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
The UNC wrestling team looked to open up conference play with a strong start as the Heels hosted the University of Virginia on Saturday night at Carmichael. The Tar Heels came out roaring with redshirt freshman Austin O'Connor capping off 3 straight major decisions for the Heels. After 2 narrow decisions going in Virginia's favor, UNC wrestler Devin Kane got his team back on track with a 10-2 major decision. All-American Chip Ness kept the momentum going, winning his match 6-1 to give UNC a 19-10 lead. Ness, who faced off against childhood friend Chance McClure, won his 11th straight home match.
I felt really good about the match. I was wrestling a close friend of mine, actually. We grew up together. I've known him since like 10 years old, traveling in tournaments. He's from Georgia, went to my club, so I was excited for it because UVA is a huge duel, but it's kind of mixed feelings. He's wrestling a good friend of mine. So.
UNC improved to 8-5 on the season with the 22-13 win. The Heels returned to the mats at Bucknell on Friday.
Heels get dubs daily for our university, and they don't stop getting wins once they leave. Former Tar Heels Theo Pinson and Mitch Trubisky are the proof in the pudding. Who said he isn't a shooter? Carolina alum Theo Pinson is putting up numbers as a 2-way player for the Brooklyn Nets and their G League affiliate, the Long Island Nets. Pinson set a franchise record with 43 points last week for Long Island and got called up to play for Brooklyn. He proceeded to post a career high and a team-leading 19 points, going 5 of 11 from the field and 60% from 3 against the New York Knicks. Pinson's performance helped Brooklyn secure the dub, 109-99. Mitchell Trubisky played briefly in yesterday's Pro Bowl, representing the Chicago Bears. While many underestimated his ability after he was drafted, Trubisky had a breakout season for the Bears, leading them to the playoffs for the first time since 2006. He has taken significant strides in his sophomore season to prove everyone, including ESPN broadcast and Chicago superfan Michael Wilbon, wrong. Trubisky is the first quarterback from Chicago to be voted in the Pro Bowl since Jim McMahon in 1985.
Many college athletes dream of one day making it to the pros. But when the dream ends suddenly, what's next? Cambria Haro tells the story of a former NFL player who thought his life was planned out and why his fall from grace ended up being a blessing in disguise.
Your name's in lights. Like, legitimately, your locker your name was lit up. I remember.
Ryan McKee reflects on his days in the NFL.
So I got the buzz.
A vision he had for himself since he was a kid.
It was always my dream to go pro in something.
He did, but a knee injury.
Last time I ever suited up in an NFL uniform.
Cut his NFL dream short.
Yeah.
The only career he ever prepared for while on scholarship at Southern Miss.
We are considered student athletes, but we're there to play the sport. I mean, that's why we came. Education was important, but really we see ourselves as athletes first.
McKee's not alone. When you eat, sleep, and breathe football,
you do wonder, am I good at anything else? Am I able to be as good at something else as I am at this sport?
That's a trap that many student athletes fall into, says ESPN's Reese Davis, prioritizing their sport over their academics, just to beat the odds.
It's only like 2% or something like that of high school athletes become Division I college athletes, and probably it's even a smaller percentage who go on to the pros. And while I fully support people pursuing a goal and a dream with everything they have, it can't be the only thing about them as human beings.
McKee had to face that fact once he hung up his cleats.
Life is full of tragedy and twists and turns, and it doesn't turn out how we think it's going to.
And after some time trying everything from roasting coffee beans to coaching college football, McKee realized that his calling was not in a football stadium, but here at the Chapel Hill Bible Church.
What is like being on a team? What is like being a coach? Well, actually, that's being a pastor, because you're in a relationship with people. You're caring for people. You're coaching people. You're seeing past what they do, but you're seeing the person that they are and who God created them to be, and you're trying to help them become that more and more.
It may not have been what he envisioned while in college, but today, McKee tackles new responsibilities every day.
This is a place of healing. This is a place of restoration.
Just on a different field. In Chapel Hill, I'm Cambria Haro reporting.
From the football field to the pulpit. I love it.
I know, we truly are fortunate that we got to cover such an incredible story like that. Life really is full of twists and turns. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports Extra.
Thanks for watching. Have a great night.